that the,
You got the countdown in there and everything?
Oops.
Call the meeting to order at 7:33. Please join us for the pledge. Wait, stop, please. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I mean, I'm all for it. But there's got to be some responsibility. This is crazy. Granted,
Basketball players
no
can't do
back
that,
there,
but she can, right?
somebody could be
All right, Mr. Manry, please call the roll.
Trustee Cicconetti?
present.
Trustee Hillier?
Present.
Trustee Pennock?
Present.
Fiscal Officer Patriarca?
President?
We are all present and accounted for, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the March 16th, 2021 and the March 24th, 2021 meetings.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Summary of the work session, Mr. Manry.
Mr. Chairman, the trustees met in executive session at 5:30 to discuss personnel. The trustees were given an update on our community reinvestment area process. The CRA has been approved by the state. We are now working on our internal processes so that we can release this to the public and accept applications. The trustees received an update on the Township app, which I believe we're going to release as soon as Gabe gets home and puts it on Facebook. They discussed reopening the meeting room to nonprofit groups. The trustees also discussed placing flood cameras at the service garage. The trustees discussed whether to hold their annual meeting, the meeting on May 4th that's annually held at the Fire Station Number 3. This year, due to our technology limitations, we're going to hold that meeting here at Painesville Township Hall. The trustees had a discussion about the Barton Ditch repair project over near Melrose. The fire chief gave an update on station improvements, gave an update on the fire department's participation with the vaccination clinic, gave an update on recent grants he's applied for, and let the trustees know that the department gave tests today for potential applicants for the fire department. The service director gave an update on the sidewalk easement for the Angelo Cicconetti Park over on Bohall Road. The service director gave an update on a drainage improvement project on Paradise Road. The service director reported that we will bring a couple of trucks over to the Morley Library Touch-a-Truck event that the library will hold in June. The service director also gave an update on the storage barn that we're talking about building over behind the service garage. Zoning inspector Rich Constantine gave an update on Tanner's Farm. He also gave an update on development over at the Brooks. Our other zoning inspector Harley started a discussion on gun regulation in the township, and that discussion will continue in a little bit at the public meeting. That's what we did, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. And just point of clarification here, and believe me, I struggle with the name of the camera that we've been talking about. I think it's flock cameras, not flood.
That's what I thought it was, but somebody from the sheriff's office put it in an email. But I think
Okay.
you were correct. I think it's flock
And
cameras.
believe me, I struggle with the name too,
Yeah.
with other camera systems, but
Yep.
I believe it's flock.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Do we have any old business from the floor? You'll be new business. You'll be new business, even though you talked about it in the work session. If there's anybody else present for old business or anybody watching online that has something to discuss that was previously discussed in a meeting, now would be the time. Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Do we have any new business from the floor? So, yeah, if you could come up to the podium here, state your name
My
and
name's Stephen Reinhardt,
address, please, as well.
240 Lee Road.
And if you just want to give us a brief recap, and then we can continue our discussion,
Yeah,
and you can chime in.
numerous times I've called the police on this gentleman for shooting his gun over there. I have a 6 and a 7-year-old. There's plenty of children in the neighborhood. Everybody walks that circle because it's a small little neighborhood. And Saturday, he was shooting, and I stopped people from walking over there because he was shooting, and I didn't want them to get shot, of course. And I called the police. The police informed me that there was nothing they could do, that it was perfectly legal. I didn't accept that because I don't believe that's true. I called the sergeant, and I found on Painesville Township website, volume 24, number 4, November 2016, that it says, discharging firearms, please note that it is illegal to discharge a firearm in Painesville Township with very few exceptions. Section 6.1 of the Township Zoning Resolution states, discharge of a firearm in any district shall not apply to the discharge of a firearm on a farm or agricultural parcel land containing 5 acres or more. The discharge is for the protection of the furtherance of the farm or agricultural use and is not recreational, random, or practice firing. This prohibition shall apply to licensed hunters and seasons who are observant all laws related to the license adopted April 16, 2002 by resolutions 2002-44, effective May 15, 2002. So, with all that being said, this is Painesville Township's paper that I got off their website, and it states that in there. When I spoke to the sergeant, he said that he didn't know that he had to talk to higher ups and he'd get back to me. Nobody's ever got back to me. So now I'm here begging for you guys to help me, please.
Okay.
I have a 6 and a 7-year-old. It's not fair if one of my children gets shot because of a rule. You know, it's not fair that anybody else's children in the neighborhood get shot. Coming around that pine tree, he's not watching, he's shooting. Coming around that pine tree, it can hit a rock under the ground. It's rocky soil. It could be this deep, ricochet up and hit somebody. It's a protection that the people in the neighborhood need.
Okay, thank you. So we have young kids, or in his case, young grandkids at that end of the table. So, you know, and safety is, you know, paramount for all of us. We had some discussion on the research that our zoning department and legal have done. We didn't finish that at the work session. You were here for the work session, but we'll continue that discussion.
Okay.
We'll have that discussion, and then if you want to add anything else to the conversation, you
Okay.
can definitely do so.
Okay.
You know, we're kind of
Tied
laid
up.
back and relaxed
Right.
here,
Okay.
so, you know, we're not going to say you had your time, you're done, but, yeah, so we'll continue the discussion. I don't know where we were.
Mr. Chairman,
Legally can do.
so just to reiterate, the state of Ohio grants us our authority to regulate certain aspects of activities on properties. And the state of Ohio has determined that townships specifically do not have the authority to regulate whether or not someone is allowed to shoot on privately owned property. The state of Ohio has some regulations, well, some guidelines in regards to appropriate backstop safety, but there are no concrete requirements as it sits right now. There is a potential remedy that Jason's comfort level is still not where I would like it to be yet. He's getting there. I'm going to win him over. So OTA supports it, though.
It's the Ohio Township Association.
Yes. So the Ohio Township Association, according to OTA, as well as a gentleman named Matthew Newmeyer, who I spoke with, who essentially worked in that position in ODNR for, I honestly cannot remember what his previous title was, I apologize, but he gave me a lot of information. And ultimately, what was suggested is a township does have the authority to create regulations for private and public shooting ranges. We could potentially, if legal supports us, we could adopt zoning regulations requiring at least standards for firing a weapon on a privately owned property. They cannot be more strict than what the NRA source book requires, but we could at least require berms and all of the other things that the NRA requires. This is very new information to us, but it could potentially be one way that we could get around the state saying that we have no authority to regulate someone shooting on their property. We don't have that authority, but we could at least put in regulations for shooting ranges. And according to Mr. Newmeyer, other townships have utilized this method to address any potential dangers that arise from target practice on private property. And like I said, the OTA they have an article discussing our ability to do so. So at the very least, the OTA supports it.
If there's other townships that have done this, I think it's important to collect some of that.
So no, I 100% that we could, essentially make a shooting range something you have to apply for a conditional use permit and have regulations, but that would not affect shooting ranges that people already have. We wouldn't be able to apply it retroactively to this current situation we're dealing with.
It's not a shooting range.
I can't
It's
say
just
I'm in
shooting
favor
cans.
of making somebody get
Um,
go through BZA to shoot on their property. However, if we can
wait a minute.
look at some sort of safety standard, that's a different story. But what's going on here just seems crazy to me, and I'm all in favor of rights to shoot guns on your property and own guns and all that. But what's happening here, shooting it at an open road, it just to me seems ridiculous. So I would not want to travel down the road of making it a permit, or going through BZA process. But if there's something to look at as far as safety standards, that would be something to consider, I would think, if legal thinks that that's
I don't know if
something
we
to
can.
do. But
Can I say something else? I don't know if you've seen it in the picture, but across that field that's across from the property is railroad tracks too. So that could be a federal thing due to the railroad tracks because they're shooting towards a railroad track also. And onto the left side of Lee Road, within 300 feet is school property for Hale Road School. So I don't know if any of that would make a difference.
But how close is the school property?
It's about 300 feet from the edge of Lee Road. It goes all the way from Hale Road School all the way back to the tracks. It's school property. The school's not there, but it's the
yeah, it's
property.
they still own it, right?
And I'm all about if somebody wants to shoot a gun, but you have to do it safely.
Well, right.
Right.
I mean, shooting it off his deck
Right.
seems a little bit loose, unless you got 5 or 6 acres and there's nobody around.
Exactly.
In
Exactly.
this case,
When you got a
when people
road
are
5
walking
feet
around
off
and,
the edge of
and
the...
then you get that huge pine tree as an
Yeah,
obstruction
that
to see those
seems
people.
crazy to me.
And as I stated, the,
Well, that's, I mean, this is to me, this is a full lack of common sense. This isn't,
Correct.
well, and to address I think we touched on it earlier, the comment of what was in the newsletter and the zoning code or the regulation we have. This came up a couple years ago, and we decided to leave that zoning code in there, even though it wasn't enforceable, to try to deter
gotcha.
it's
people.
a soft deterrent, I think.
Yeah, and same thing with probably the newsletter, although
I don't know how to-
November of 2016.
It's weird
while
that it
ago.
ended up in there.
Yeah, but again, as a deterrent, that
Right.
so there are some things. It sounds like there's some things we can maybe check into,
Investigate here.
to see if we can come up with something with some teeth.
Just like a nice letter to the guy saying, hey, we got safety concerns.
So I think
Here-
I'm sorry, you can go ahead, Rich.
Go ahead, Rich.
Listen, one of the things that bothers me is probably if somebody is discharging firearms on their property and the bullets stay on their property and never leave, we may have a difficult time trying to prosecute anything. On the other hand, why should we have to have the onus of proving such a hard burden that once in a while a bullet does leave the property from which it was shot? I mean, if I wanted to stand across the street from this idiot and shoot at the same cans that he's shooting at, but the bullets could ricochet and hit him, how would he like that? You know, and if the sheriff was to come along and tell me I'm violating the law, it's like, prove it to me, baby. How come he can shoot at me in my direction, and I have to prove that his bullets are leaving his property?
Mr. Chairman.
You know, this is a very hard thing, and I personally do not at all appreciate the fact that we have lawyers, educated people elected to the legislature of the state of Ohio who are so stupid to allow this kind of moronic behavior.
All right, thank you, Rich.
Forgive me for getting excited,
Thank
but
you,
they're
Rich.
crazy.
Chuck, did you have something you wanted to add?
We attend, the Ohio Township Association has seminars every year. We didn't go this last year because of COVID, but we've gone in years past, and they have had a seminar on this in the past, and they did a presentation, and they showed, it looked like, when you say township, we always think of the country, like Leroy.
Right.
You know, we're more urban, city-like, just by our composition, our makeup. So, one thing that Rich says, if he was shooting, first of all, you can shoot on your own property per the Ohio Revised Code, and the bullets have to stay on your property. So what this guy's doing is by the picture of it and what's hearing, is just completely irresponsible. I think we all understand that. I think we are extremely limited by the Ohio Revised Code. If there is some way for us to address it through the Ohio Revised Code, we're all for it. But based upon the seminar that I sat in with the Ohio Township Association, we don't have that authority. Now, if there's a way around it and a way to make it safe, I mean, we're asking the right questions. Okay, so if we can't regulate it from a shooting gun standpoint, is there some way the sheriff could regulate it from a safety standpoint? But until or the noise ordinance thing. But with all of these, they have to prove that the bullets leave. So if there's ever bullet cartridges that do ricochet over, well, now he's violated the law and he could be prosecuted for that. To do what this person is doing is more than completely irresponsible.
The bullets leaving the property is not in the ORC.
Well, what they said was, so in the one that I attended, these people were in their backyard, picture Leroy in the middle of nowhere, and this guy he had a big target, and it was huge, probably about 10, 15 feet high of stuff. And it hit this, and it ricocheted over this, and it went about a mile, three-quarters of a mile, and it went into someone's house, into their microwave. I mean, that's how, and then this went on. There was multiple bullets in this house, and they were showing videos of this, pictures of this. So, I mean, or maybe it was on television, a news report, but I saw this, and this was what they were doing. Now, in a case like this, so the guy is shooting from his back patio into there, legally, there's nothing we can do. But if those bullets come across, the ricocheted off as you described, well, now there's a case the sheriff can deal with. So, I mean, as much as we want to deal with this and address this, and we do, I mean, I've shot raccoons in my yard, so I don't want this taken away because they break in my roof and they cause damage. I mean, that's just part of living in a township. We have certain rights, responsibilities, but it's always done with me standing up, shooting down into the ground over the top of the raccoon. You know, I'm not shooting across 50 feet to a house or something. So there's ways you can do these things, and that's why it's in the laws, but I think we're restricted. We will explore the options because this is irresponsible. We all recognize that. Completely irresponsible and dangerous. Just walking around that corner, my God, I'm campaigning over there, and I'm thinking, when I always come walking around that corner, you know, unless I hear the guy shooting, any one of us could be a victim of it.
I had a cable guy there. There was a shot. He's like, well, I can't do anything. I don't know what's going on out there. He left, you know.
Not the cable guy, that could be another year.
Right. And I did for the Ohio Revised Codes, it says it's currently legal to discharge firearms on private property in Ohio townships as long as it's done in a safe, legal manner and it properly belongs to you and you have permission by the property owner. You must also have a proper backstop.
Does it say must?
It says you must also have a proper
Wait, is that from ORC that you?
I got this off of BuckeyeFirearms.org.
Yeah, that,
It was
So
Ohio website.
there's several websites. Several townships have it on their websites. I've seen it on Buckeye Firearms. Those requirements for backstops and all that stuff, that's guidelines.
yeah.
Not
So
ORC.
unless the
So
Ohio
not
revised
having
code,
a backstop doesn't make it illegal.
Right.
It just puts it outside of those guidelines.
Yeah, because I mean, there's trains that go by. There's people on
Yeah,
four
and I-
wheelers that
like I
ride the
said,
tracks.
I-
I know it's illegal, but they do it.
I drove by.
You can't risk somebody.
I
getting
drove
killed.
by before the meeting today, and it's insane what
Right.
he's doing. And that's part of the reason why Harley and I have dove so deep into this, because you look at it from the outside and you say, "There's got to be something we can do here."
so I think as Chuck said, that, there are specific rights in the township, but, I think, I don't know, at least myself, we see an issue in this corner, and if
will
there's something we
explore all
can do
options.
Right.
to address it, we
Okay.
definitely will.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not looking to shut the guy down and stop him from shooting on his property,
I don't have a
but
problem with that. Just
I
be
don't,
safe.
Safe.
exactly. I think that if there is townships that have put something in a place where there has to be the proper backstopping, and there is some teeth to that, which we'll get to that, I guess, then by all means, that's something we look at, because I want to at least be safe and have you safe and your kids safe,
And the
my kids
neighborhood,
safe, and the
yeah.
neighborhood,
Right.
right. So that's what's important,
Right.
so,
Yeah, I don't care if he shoots, honestly,
Right.
but
In a safe
shooting like
manner.
that is not
that's
acceptable.
ridiculous, right. There's
So.
responsibility of being a gun owner and somebody shooting a gun, and that's falling outside that, responsibility, in my opinion, but
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for your time. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to present.
No problem.
Did you get your pictures
Um,
back?
no, they're.
You want your pictures?
Yeah, you guys keep.
You,
I think we're good.
I think we're good.
Yeah, we all
I-
got the point. It was well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
hey,
Mute him.
Do we,
I did raise my hand.
oh, we didn't, well, hold on. Do we,
So, listen, if I promise to behave, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
yes,
Look, the spirit of our particular zoning resolution is that to defend your property, you can discharge a firearm on your property. We want to discourage just random target practice. So maybe we need to tweak our zoning resolution a little bit and provide some guidelines or some requirements for target practicing with firearms on your own property. And then if somebody violates that, I think we need to test the system in the state and take them to court. And if we have to keep tweaking our resolution, we'll keep tweaking it based on what the courts are telling us. But somewhere along the line, our charge is to provide for the health, safety, and general welfare of our people.
okay, so that would be something we would definitely want to investigate as we move forward on this, if that's something we could do and how that might apply.
Okay.
Any other new business from the floor?
Will, do you have anything? Oh,
This is the time. This is the time, and if you want, you can stay back there.
why don't you take our microphone here?
Hello, my love, thank you. Yes, this is just a quickie. I understand a couple of months ago in the newspaper there was an article about the township donating money to Fairport Harbor for their senior center.
Correct.
And I wanted to know if that was indeed correct.
Yes, that is correct.
The amount of 7,000?
So it was,
Yes, 2 years.
it was 2 years, so there was an oversight last year that we didn't make that contribution.
So can I ask who requested this and why was it given to them?
So it's been an ongoing contribution we've done over several years. Chris Yano, who's the director of the Fairport Senior Center, sent a letter requesting a donation from the township.
Okay, so can I ask them why, when the city required or asked for a donation, it was said no.
So we did not receive a request from the Painesville.
We've done it for numerous years.
Yeah, but we didn't get a request.
Numerous years.
So-
And we didn't get a penny.
So 2 years ago,
No, you didn't always give us money. I'm sorry, my love.
so 2 years ago, we notified both the Fairport Senior Center and the Painesville Senior Center that rather than us just giving money every year, we were requiring them to submit a letter to us each year stating what they would use the donation for. And Fairport Senior Center did that, and we did not receive any request from the Painesville Senior Center for any funding with a explanation of what they wanted to use the money for.
I believe in 2019 was the last year, 2018 or 2019, that we just sent checks to both entities without any
2019.
requests. And then after that, we required a letter requesting the money. And we did not get anything from anybody in 2020. And then we got a request from Fairport this year requesting money. But the money has been started at $1,000 per. When I started 10 years ago, we were giving $1,000 to both centers, and then moving forward, we upped it to $3,000 or $3,500 to both entities. And then starting last year, we started requiring a request for the funds.
A request with a kind of an explanation
What it would be used
what it
for.
would be used for.
Okay, well, next month I shall be here, and I shall be with paperwork that stipulates you were asked and said no.
No, we were not. Okay, I can assure you that.
Carol has been there for a long time. A couple of your board members are from the township. Hell Regals, teachers. We had more people coming to Painesville Senior Center that lived in the township and Concord than there was in Painesville City. And we were not given any money from the township.
So,
And we have paperwork to prove.
yeah, so,
No.
yeah, if you have, I mean, if,
Well, we've written checks to them for
Well,
$3,500.
now that.
That Painesville, the
now
Painesville
they're
Senior
going
Center,
down the drain.
and $1,000 before that to the Painesville Senior Center. I've been here for many checks being issued to them. I can assure you, and we did that. So,
I'll tell you this, but it got lost in the mail.
no, checks were cash. I can assure you. We can show you that checks were cashed.
Well, I would love to see them, because
Okay.
then I would like to tell that lady that she is completely wrong.
Oh, because she is. We can
Well,
show
I
you
mean-
that. So we'll just give you.
Give me your phone number, dear, so I
Well,
can
not. Well, we can.
So-
The township. We can dig up the.
yeah, Mike, yeah. So our administrator, Mike, is going to give you one of his cards, and he'll work with either our fiscal officer or his assistant,
Office or office
and
manager. She'll be able to pull those numbers
Thank you,
up.
my love.
yeah, and we can get
Yes, I
dates,
need it.
check numbers, and all that.
We can run a vendor report.
Yeah, we can run
Okay.
a vendor report and show the money that we've given to them over the last 10 years at least, probably.
Okay, I shall look for this next month then. Or I will call and see if I can come in and get something.
Sure.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I would appreciate that, dear. Thank you,
Thank
my
you.
love.
All right, do we have any other new business from the floor? Hearing none, we'll move on to department reports. Service Department.
I have nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Fire Department.
You'd have to tell me if I was doing it.
Thank you. Zoning. Thank you. Legal Advisor.
Nothing to report.
He's writing.
Well, I'm sorry, did you call? I'm sorry.
I didn't know. I was waiting until you were done writing.
I'm done.
Okay. Administrator, do you have any department reports? Anything else to add?
Do not have a report tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I was waiting until you were done writing.
Thank you.
Fiscal Officer.
The only thing I have to report, we're currently going through an audit. Normally we do it every 2 years. We just finished one up not too long ago, but because of the COVID monies that we got and the town council, they required an audit, so so they said they were gonna do an audit just for that. But they were gonna do an audit for the whole year, so. So
Okay.
they're doing that. It's actually started, but
Will that get us a skip next year?
I don't know yet.
Because
They don't know the answer to that.
we pay for the audits, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this audit was for the CARES Act funding, no?
This is general audit.
Oh.
Well, it ended up being a general audit, but they would have had to done a CARES Act audit anyway, so how much extra the regular
So this isn't
audit
just
would be.
doing it all in one.
The state required them to do it, so
Okay.
we just, whatever they tell us to do, we do. So it's not a huge, not like, in a normal 2-year thing is around $5,000 or something, so it's not huge. It's not like 100,000 or something like that. It's not like a legal bill. It's just accounting.
All right, thank you. Trustees, I need a motion to request a resolution to hire John E. Moore as a laborer 1 in the service department. The starting wage will be $22 per hour with a hire date of April 19th, 2021.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to request a resolution authorizing Painesville Township to participate in ODOT's 2021 SALT contract.
So moved.
Oh, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You said that as though there was more coming.
Well, there was another word
The last
Oh,
word
okay.
there, that made no sense.
Correct.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. I need a motion to request a resolution authorizing payment of $6,345 to Sedgwick for group enrollment fees for workers' comp.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Trustees, anything else to add?
Yeah, did you see that thing I sent you? Did you look at it? It was in addition to
The
flock
camera.
camera. This was the actual,
Installation?
no, this was the flock camera does the road.
Okay.
This is for zone monitoring and recording any instances. It's a 30-day cycle, and that the sheriff's office can tap in and view at any time. That would encompass the entire area versus just the road for license plates.
Okay.
So if anything occurs in the parking lot and the
So
side
this is
lot-
above the other cost?
Yeah, it's 1,800 is for the products, the installation, all the equipment, and then that would be it's the monitoring is included, and would be housed in the service department on a hard drive, but can also be accessed through the internet at any time.
So this is the total cost for that
Total
system?
cost,
So
yeah.
that's
So
even better than
is
what we were
there-
told.
Is there a
No,
monthly?
this is aside from the flocks. This is this is flock is one thing that does the road. This would be purposefully a high definition camera to
Okay,
record the
all right,
zone,
I got you.
so that when things happen, they can
This
go
was
back
the
and
other,
look.
the second item we
Correct.
discussed. I got you,
So it's
okay,
1,800 for all the equipment installed, no monitoring fees, one and done.
good.
So we just need you guys good? We can tell them to go.
I'm
with
good.
it.
Yeah, I think we just would,
Okay.
I don't know if we need a
No, no,
resolution
no,
next
it's
time or
fine.
anything, or we're just
It's
good
fine.
there on that.
That was it. Okay.
All right.
I have nothing else.
Anything else?
Nothing,
Okay.
thank you.
With that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn at 8:06.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.